Before God gave the vision for Hope Ranch for Women, I spent quite a bit of my time in ministry at Christ Church. There I did various different things, but basically would work with adults, and also was enjoying and looking forward to a time of maybe even slowing down a little bit. Hope Ranch began in 2011 with a vision, and I am not a person who's ever experienced a vision. I was praying at home and I saw women being held against their will, exploited and abused. And I sensed God saying to me in that vision, I've heard the cry of the broken. I know every detail of their story. Who will go? And in the next moment, I saw these women functioning in a home. And I guess the way I would describe it, they were functioning in a home like we would have prepared for women who are getting ready to launch. And they're learning those launching lessons that we need to give our kids. And so that's what I saw happening, and they were happening in the safety and security of a house. The strange part of that vision was I knew the house, I knew who owned the home. I was just really acquaintances with them at the time, but I had never stepped foot in the home. And so I really didn't know what to do with that vision. I walked away from it. I got pretty dry in my relationship with God, and God said, He was very clear to me, unless I was to go ahead and follow through with the vision He gave me, He and I, in our relationship, really couldn't move any further down the road. So I reached out to the couple who owned the home that was in the vision, and we began to have conversations. It was amazing to find out that they had been indeed fasting and praying themselves about what God was calling them to do with this home. And so I went to various groups here in Wichita, seeking out to really understand the truth of what we're facing here in this area. And my question to most of the groups that I would go to was, if the faith community, people of Christ, could come together, lowering denominational divides, and really work together for the good of this, of those who are being perpetrated, what would you ask for from us? And they generally came back with two answers: mentors and a home. Mentors and a home. One of the challenges I felt like during the time when we were acquiring the property was not having the ability to pay it off immediately at the beginning. And I felt like the Lord had told me that He would pay off the property within a year, and during that time my faith was stretched. I kept thinking, how am I supposed to pay for this? And God kept saying, wait on me, I've got this taken care of. Well, about a year, almost to the date of that word, I received a invitation to dinner, and a couple that has been so incredibly generous to the ministry indeed paid off the rest of the property. Besides the fact that God has given incredible amounts of money and provided that way, He has provided the right people. One of the things that God began to teach me was that before resources and provision show up, the right people show up, because He has the right people in mind to do this work. Some of my greatest highs and moments of being in this ministry has been the times when I walk away from a few get-togethers with some of the women that we serve, and I see them having fun. I see them laughing. I see them enjoying life. Another thing, when you see a light come on and you begin to recognize that they are hearing God's voice, and then to have God faithfully answer the words that He spoke to them, and they're beginning to see God in new ways. There is nothing any more beautiful or precious to me than those moments. Those are exciting times, because I know if they begin to hear God for themselves, I know they're going to make it. It isn't dependent upon Hope Ranch. Their dependency becomes upon God Himself. We get the question often about how can I help. I think I would want to be able to sit down, if I had the opportunity I would want to sit down across from you with a cup of coffee, and I would want to ask, what are you passionate about? What's your gift that's in your hand? What's your talent? What's your strength? Bring it to the table and let's see how we can use that in this issue. Another conversation is to say, and I know it seems like an answer that everybody gives you, but there is no denying this truth, that as you pray, heaven opens up. God hears the prayers of righteous people called by His name. When we humble ourselves, He hears those prayers and He answers those prayers. And we cannot do the work we do without the saints and people coming to pray. And finally, Hope Ranch, like all other groups, we do need financial help. We do need financial backing and donors, and it makes no difference whether what you give is $1 or $10 or $100 or $1,000 or the sky's the limit. Your resource that you put in somebody else's hand for the restoration and the care and the transformation of an exploited person, there's no way to be able to put a price on that. And your help is absolutely vital. We cannot do what we do without this community gathering around this issue. And so I would say you have expertise, you have talents, you have gifts. And don't be surprised that those talents, expertise, and gifts can be used, because God will use them if you'll just let Him have those opportunities.